The divorce papers sat on the kitchen counter, their crisp edges curling slightly in the humid August air, as if recoiling from the weight of their own words. I stared at them, my pulse hammering in my throat, the ink blurring into a smear of black accusation. For years ago, on the day Claire was promoted to bank manager, she'd come home radiant, her laughter filling our small apartment like champagne bubbles. That same night, she'd slid those papers across this very counter, her eyes steady, unapologetic. "I need to be free," she'd said, voice soft but sharp, like a blade wrapped in silk. I'd been too stunned to argue, too gutted to see the signs I'd missed. Now, for years later, a Polaroid slipped from the envelope, an image of Claire, laughing in another man's arms, time-stamped that same cursed day. My hands trembled as I gripped the photo, the truth clawing its way to the surface. She hadn't just left me. She'd betrayed me long before. The apartment was suffocating, the air thick with the scent of stale coffee and the faint floral trace of Claire's old perfume, still lingering in the cushions. I sank into a chair, the wood creaking under my weight, and tried to piece together the fragments of that day. Her promotion party had been a blur of clinking glasses and forced smiles. She'd glowed, her auburn hair catching the light as she toasted to new beginnings. I'd thought she meant us, our future, our dreams. But the Polaroid told a different story. Her head tilted back, lips parted in a laugh, while a man I didn't recognize held her close, his hand possessive on her waist. The timestamp burned into my vision. 7:42 p.m., hours before she'd handed me those papers. My mind reeled, replaying the years before that night. Had there been signs? The late nights at the bank, her phone buzzing at odd hours, the way she'd started locking her laptop. I'd chalked it up to stress, to ambition. Claire was driven, always had been. I'd loved that about her. The fire in her eyes when she spoke about climbing the corporate ladder. I'd rationalized every red flag, every missed dinner, every distracted glance. Love does that, doesn't it? It blinds you, wraps your doubts in soft excuses until the truth slices through like a razor. I stood, pacing the worn linoleum, the Polaroid still clutched in my hand. The apartment felt like a museum of our marriage. Her favorite mug on the counter, the scuff on the wall from when we'd moved in, laughing and clumsy. I wanted to scream, to shatter something, but instead, I grabbed my phone and dialed her number. It rang twice before her voicemail kicked in, her voice bright and professional, like she hadn't just upended my world again. "Claire," I said, my voice cracking, "we need to talk. I found something. Call me back." I hung up, my chest tight, knowing she wouldn't call. She hadn't in years. The next morning, I drove to the bank. The building loomed, all glass and steel, a monument to her success. Inside, the air was cool, scented with lemon polish and ambition. A young teller smiled at me, her badge reading Emily. "I'm here to see Claire Harper," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. Emily's smile faltered. "Ms. Harper's in a meeting. Can I take a message?" I hesitated, the Polaroid burning a hole in my pocket. "Tell her it's her husband." "Ex-husband," I corrected, the word bitter on my tongue. Emily nodded, but her eyes flicked to the side, nervous. Something was off. I waited in the lobby, the leather chair squeaking under me. The clock ticked, each second stretching into eternity. I watched the employees, their practiced smiles and clipped conversations. A man in a sharp suit emerged from a glass-walled office, his stride confident, his face familiar. My stomach dropped. It was him, the man from the Polaroid. Older now, gray at the temples, but unmistakable. He glanced my way, his eyes narrowing briefly before he turned to a colleague, laughing. My fists clenched, nails biting into my palms. Claire appeared moments later, her heels clicking on the marble floor. She looked impeccable, her navy blazer tailored to her frame, her expression unreadable. "Mark," she said, her voice cool. "What are you doing here?" I stood, my height towering over her, though I felt small, exposed. "We need to talk," I said, pulling the Polaroid from my pocket. Her eyes widened, just for a second, before her mask slipped back into place. "Not here," she hissed, glancing around. She led me to a small conference room, the door clicking shut behind us. "Who is he?" I demanded, holding up the photo. Her lips pressed into a thin line, but she didn't flinch. "You're digging up the past, Mark." "Why?" Her deflection stoked my anger. Don't play games, Claire. This was taken the day you filed for divorce. The day you said you needed to be free. Were you with him the whole time? My voice broke, and I hated myself for it. She sighed, crossing her arms. You don't understand. It wasn't about him. It was about me. I needed out. Out of what? Our marriage? Our life? I stepped closer, the photo trembling in my hand. You owed me the truth. Her eyes softened just for a moment, and I saw something flicker. Guilt, maybe, or regret. I didn't want to hurt you, she said quietly. You were good, Mark. Too good. I felt trapped, like I was suffocating in your kindness. Her words stung, each one a fresh wound. So you cheated? I spat. She looked away, her silence louder than any confession. The room felt too small, the air too thick. I wanted to hate her, to scream, but part of me still loved her, even now. Who was he? I asked again, softer this time. She hesitated, then said, His name's David. He was a client. It wasn't serious. Just a mistake. A mistake. The word echoed hollow. A mistake you celebrated by leaving me, I said, my voice barely a whisper. She didn't respond, her gaze fixed on the floor. I left the bank in a daze, the Polaroid crumpled in my fist. That night, I sat in the dark, replaying our marriage, searching for the moment it fractured. I'd been blind, but so had she, blind to the life we could have had. Then my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Check your mailbox. My heart raced as I stumbled outside, the night air sharp against my skin. In the mailbox was a single envelope, no return address. Inside, another Polaroid. Claire and David recent, their hands intertwined, smiling at a restaurant I recognized. A note was scrawled on the back. She's still lying. My breath caught, rage and heartbreak colliding. Claire hadn't just betrayed me 4 years ago. She was still with him, still hiding the truth. I stood there, the photo shaking in my hands, the weight of her deception crushing me. But something else stirred, resolve. I wouldn't let her rewrite our story. Not again.